Greetings. My name is Anthony Altman, and this video, and also there is an audio article of this video, they're both entitled An Urgent Message to Humanity. The lighting's terrible. I do apologize. I've just changed a few things, and I was looking at my teeth, and my lips look a little weird. As they say, the show must go on. Please note this video and article are both copyrighted by Anthony Bennett Altman, 2024, with all rights reserved. My lips are normally a normal color. They just look very bad at the moment. The lighting is not good. My apologies for that. Today's date is the 6th of January, 2024. Yet I wrote this on the 30th of October, 2023, after the dreadful invasion of Israel by the Hamas terrorists in Gaza. And Gaza, as we know, it's located on the west side of Israel by the Mediterranean Sea, alongside the border with the Sinai Peninsula in Egypt. Unfortunately, the other terrorist group, Hezbollah in Lebanon, also joined in with incursions into and the bombing of Israel. Turkey threatens to join in and supporting Hamas, and also Iran is saber-rattling, all the while financing and equipping both Hamas and Hezbollah. You know, this war brought my attention to all the conflict and other wars that are currently being waged on our planet. And I feel that all this violence spurred me to write this urgent message to humanity. There are antagonists and defenders, and yet in some way, very often, the defenders could also have been the antagonists. And the truth is all lost in a sea of fear, blood and tears, and lust for war and conflict. Actually, I'm not interested in the actual conflicts, as I am more interested in why and how they were all started and allowed to continue year after year, decade after decade, century after century, and what we can do as a people, individually as in a group, to stop the conflict. In fact, it is high time for all this war and violence to stop, and this is my message to humanity. Positive change in humanity begins with the individual component of human society, and that includes you and me and all other individuals who can, in unity, stand up and say no to war, no to violence. The truth is, the ultimate power of our destiny is with us, the people, who can, and I hope will, be sufficiently self-empowered to find the means within themselves to stand in unity and say no to war. So this message is intended to inspire and motivate more people, many more people, to empower themselves so that we can take our people power back from those to whom we gave our power a millennia or so ago. This is the time for all people to choose a better way to live and prosper. You know, there's so many wars going on at the moment in Russia, coup d'etats in Africa, Gabon, Niger, Burkina Faso, Sudan, Guinea, Mali, 2 coups in a month. And these are all the wars that we are to stop. If we care to look at historical events over many centuries, we can see that there has never really been a period when our planet was not experiencing some conflict somewhere. It seems that human beings are extremely aggressive and warlike and just keep fighting each other for any reason. Humans suffer enormously during and after all such conflict, and they also suffer with the accepted way by which humans live, which includes all the infrastructures like the financial institutions, the industrial military complex, medical and pharmaceutical, and the list goes on. Yet the vast majority of human beings seem to accept all these yokes, these burdens, with a resignation that bespeaks of victimhood and allowing themselves to be controlled, disenfranchised, and oppressed. I say themselves because I choose not to be part of that. And yet I am just one voice. And yet my one voice mixed with a few other one voices can help inspire a tsunami of voices. And this is my intention. I have several general questions to ask, and as follows. Number one, why are humans so aggressive and engage in constant war and conflict? Number two, why do humans allow themselves to be manipulated, coerced, controlled, disenfranchised, and oppressed by the very leaders they themselves elect or allow to be leaders? Number three, why do humans suffer so much? Number four, why are humans so disunified in comparative peacetime and unify in wartime? Yeah, this is a good question. Why is it so easy for humans to hate and difficult for them to be loving and compassionate and judgmental, non-judgmental, generally speaking, of course? Number six, why are most human beings reluctant to accept the truth and prefer to be deceived? Why, number seven, why do most humans refrain from educating themselves, thus increasing their knowledge and wisdom? Number eight, why do most humans prefer to be told what to do, when to do it, and how to do it without question? Number nine, why are so many humans oblivious to their greater potential and consciousness that reside within each one of us? 8 billion people on this planet. Number 10, why are most humans disinclined to develop their vast innate human potential and consciousness? These are the questions I feel more human beings are to ask themselves, and yet after a lifetime of study, learning, and observation, I feel I have arrived at the answers to most of these questions, which are contained in my previous written articles and audio articles specifically entitled 4 Human Groups. In summarized fashion, the 4 groups are: 1, those who do not know what is going on in our world and do not want to know, and this amounts to about 70 to 75, maybe even 80% of the population of 8 billion people on this planet. Number 2, group number 2, those who do know what is going on in our world to some degree and are not interested in positive change. They may amount to 15 to 20%. These are generalized percentages. And group number 3, those who do know very well what is going on in our world and desire positive change. This amounts to about 5% of the public, maybe more. My figures are very, very casual. And the last group, number 4, those who have made and are making positive changes within themselves and convey such messages to the public. These amount to what? 2 or 3%, maybe less. 2 or 3% of the public, maybe less. The percentages are derived from my own casual calculation based upon my observation and experience, and looking at various statistics that I have seen on the internet in various countries depicting percentages of various groups doing various things, the numbers of people who were vaccinated against the COVID and all this sort of thing. And it has helped me devise some kind of generalized idea of the percentages of these four groups. If my description of the four groups is correct, only 5 to 10%, extremely optimistic that it is, of the population of our planet will be interested in the information contained in this video and audio article. Not very inspiring. I may be too conservative, in fact, with my percentages, but in any case, the number of people is minimal, somewhat paltry, who would be interested enough to do something about the existential threat of that humanity faces right now. This is because, as yet, our numbers are insufficient to have the required positive effect on the remainder of humanity. This is like the 100th monkey effect, the tipping point, critical mass. Having said that, there is a way to accelerate the tipping point of, or critical mass, necessary to resolve our human issues, trials, and tribulations. That is to actually develop more of our innate human potential, to actualize it, and also to develop more of our innate consciousness, to actually actualize it. And altogether, this really means self-actualization of each and every individual who is capable of doing so. People may ask, what is consciousness? What is the potential? I've written this in so many other articles and videos, and I ask you to go and search them out or to write to me. You can go to my website, anthonyaltman.net, ANTHONY, ALTMAN.net, anthonyaltman.net, and on the contact page, you can send me a message, or if you see this on YouTube or Rumble, you can send me a message via that media. Of course, most people may disagree with me, and I don't blame them, because it's very radical what the figures I'm giving, because they have been conditioned and brainwashed and programmed that all this violence, greed, deception, control, and disenfranchisement is normal. That's another reason why they may not agree with what I'm saying. These are people who feel that they do not have a voice, that they do not have choice. These are the people who cannot accept that there is another and better way to live, and that is the key why we, the many, are being controlled by a few. Because the few know all this, and the many don't. And within the many, there are a few of us who are doing our best to inspire and motivate the many, that they are capable to make better choices in the way we all live. I have written extensively about consciousness and conscious awareness, yet most people are just not interested. And the issue for the small group of people who are interested is that when the lemmings choose to gather and run off a cliff, they will no doubt carry the smaller groups with them, except for a few who manage to isolate themselves, who are unseen and forgotten by the masses. I may be one of them. Here is my urgent message, for what it is worth. Human beings have an innate potential within each one of us, which is of unimaginable proportions and is so vast as to make it virtually impossible to describe. In order to access such potential and consciousness, each individual human being is to evolve and develop that ability, even if it takes more than one lifetime, incarnations. Notwithstanding evolution of the soul, any form of accelerating one's evolution begins with choice and intention, as I have written and spoke about ad nauseum. All that has happened on planet throughout our history and what is currently happening on our planet, as of now and what happened since October 2023 is all the consequence of our individual and group actions and non-actions when action was required, but nobody did anything. Those in group 3 and 4, that group that I mentioned about the group 1 who do not know and are not interested, and those who do know but are also not interested. If those groups have their way, humanity is doomed in this particular cycle, which is I'm talking about the precession of the equinoxes, a cycle of about 25,750 years in duration. And we are currently located at the nadir, the lowest point, having just emerged from the Piscean age of 2,100 years, having just entered the Aquarian age of another 2,160 years about. And thusly, we are in the process of shedding much of the negativity associated with that Piscean age. However, most of the people, perhaps, as I've said, 75, 80%, are not sufficiently evolved or aware enough to know what is going on, as I've mentioned earlier. In order for humanity to survive, it does seem that there is to be some kind of separation of the wheat from the chaff. This is a huge philosophical and existential subject to discuss and learn the truth, and maybe another time. If, however, in order for humanity to survive what is going on presently on our planet, and which has been building up to this point for centuries, the ones who seek positive change are to separate from those who are disinterested or somehow inspire more of the masses to be able to see what the truth really is. It is as simple as that, really, in my opinion. However, I and quite a few like me are able to step back from the drama going on all over our planet, and we're able to see a much broader picture that the 75, 80% of the people just do not see, of this planet's population having been subjected to such copious numbers of existential threats, and which are getting worse by the day. These are the people who I implore to open their eyes, wake up, and see the truth. Listen to the voices of inspiration and motivation, because it is only by us waking up and realizing what the truth is and empowering ourselves that we will be able to make positive changes on this planet. This is what I know. Each one of us human beings are at a different point of our soul's evolutionary journey. However, there are various groupings, as mentioned before, which place humans in different groups, depending upon their individual and combined evolutionary process and progress. Understanding this becomes quite obvious that there can never really be any consensus because we're all so different, while there is disparity of consciousness and conscious awareness between all of these groups. So the idea would be to develop our consciousness more so that there can be greater consensus. This is what really is preventing the masses of human beings from standing in unity and driving our own destiny. The purpose of living as a human being in this third dimensional reality, in my opinion, is for each of us to learn what we came here to learn, in spite of the soul amnesia we experienced soon after birth. When we were born, we kind of had that connection. We knew who we were. And then within a few years, we forgot. Part of the learning process is to recognize that there are two main players in this realm, light and dark, also known as good and evil, which are two polarized opposites that are part of this third dimensional realm's reality, which can never be changed because it'll always be like this, in my opinion. What can be changed is when we make a choice. And if that choice is inaction, then let's choose action. If our choice has been evil, then let us now choose good. Whatever our choice is, we can change it if we want to. Change for an improvement, change for a better life. To remove the evil would destroy the good. You see, we live in a polarized duality, which means that if you have evil, you've got to have good. If you have good, you've got to have evil. If you have up, you have down. If you have light, you have dark. If you have night, you have day. If you have a coin which has two sides and you destroy one side, you destroy the entire coin. So good and evil are here to stay in the third dimension. The difference is, what do you and I choose? Evil or good? Light or dark? If we choose light and we reflect light, dark recedes by itself, because darkness can only exist in the absence of light. And evil can only exist when there is an absence of good. So when more of us people on this planet choose good, we know what happens. If I'm correct in my observation and knowing, there will be a significant separation of groups 1 and 2. Now, 1 and 2, if I can get to it. Group 1 is the group who do not know, the people who do not know what's going on the planet, and they don't want to know. Group 2 are those who do know what's going on to some degree, but they're not interested in positive change. Now, those two groups are going to separate somehow from groups 3 and 4. Groups 3 were those who know very well what is going on in the world and they desire positive change. And group 4, those who have made and are making positive changes within themselves, and they are doing their best to convey these messages to the public. Now, the separation of group 1 and 2 from groups 3 and 4 has to occur unless more people in groups 1 and 2 wake up, so that humanity has a chance to continue developing into something that will eventually be of great significance to the well-being of all beings and way beyond our planet, positively affecting other extraterrestrial races throughout our galaxy and universe. This is a great destiny that humanity could aspire to. In fact, I believe this is why so many souls from all over the multiverse clamor to incarnate here, because this is the finest evolutionary school there is, even though it can be brutal in its growth from ignorance to the consciousness of knowing. The reason why it's brutal is because as we grow and we are developing our consciousness, we tend to hold on to that which we are supposed to let go, and that causes the suffering. A most pertinent fact is that most people refuse to accept is that we humans create our individual and group reality by what we think, or what we speak, and what actions we perform. We create our reality. Even if we do nothing, and we say nothing, and we think nothing, by our inactivity, we are helping to create our reality. Because if we do nothing, there's always somebody else that's going to come along and do it. If we say nothing, there's always somebody else, usually a politician, who's going to tell us what to do. Unfortunately, a lot of human beings don't understand this, and it is for them to realize and to wake up, I hope, to understand that we are responsible for our reality that we experience, and we are creating and co-creating that reality. It is not for me to inform you, because it is for you to learn. It is for me to help inspire and motivate, and there are many like me. But we all learn by our own volition. If you do not already know your history and you do not know what's going on, it's time for you to know. The internet is a formidable repository of such information. However, I do feel that it is incumbent upon me to remind everyone that positive change can only originate from inside each one of us. And each one of us makes up our human being group. And if we want positive change in our human group, we are first to establish that positive change within each one of us individual human beings. In other words, all that is required is for us to begin the process of our own individual transformation from not knowing of our true nature, of our total self, lower self and higher self, to greater knowledge of our total self. And this is self-mastery. And just the choice to do this is the beginning of the process. Fewer words and more action. Action. Let us be better examples. The survival of humanity depends upon those of us who choose to do so, and then actually do it. This is my urgent message to humanity. In order to know more about me and the work I do, please visit my website. I've mentioned it before, anthonyaltman.net. You can also see it in the written text description of this video on YouTube and Rumble and others. There you will find my other books, articles, and other information that can be helpful to many people. I thank you for listening, and I feel that this message is a little heavy, but my intention is to help inspire and motivate people, because the time is now. Too many people are suffering, and it is time for us to act now with love, compassion, but say no to all that which we don't want, because if you don't say no, we're all doomed. And I am optimistic that we will change the course of what appears to be what we're told by others, that we can, in fact, create a most wonderful, positive, happy life for each one of us. So let's work together. Let's do it. And let's say no in unison to all that which is of no value to us. And let's say yes to all that which is of value to us. Thank you. Happy New Year to you, and a Happy New Year to all of us on the planet. Thank you.